Good morning, children. I am back here with new topic, living and non-living things. So generally on this earth we can see only two types of things called living and non-living. So to understand that concept today, we are going to see a small story of between two friends, Venkatesh and Tanvir. Both are two friends, and one day Venkatesh has one favorite shirt, blue color shirt. He had one favorite shirt, but it is not fitting to him now. When he was small, he bought that shirt, but now it is not fitting to him. So to alter that, he went to a tailor shop. So asked him to do any alteration so that it will come for him easily. But tailor man said it is impossible. We cannot extend the size of your shirt. So with a sad face, he came back, and while coming on roadside, he found both Venkatesh and Tanvir found a dog sleeping on roadside. By looking that, both have some discussion that whether the dog is alive or not. So how can we know the dog is alive or not? Is it live or it is dead? How can we say? By the movement of its stomach. When we are sleeping, when any living thing is sleeping, like animals and human beings, so we can see while sleeping our stomach will be somewhat showing some movement. By seeing that, they decided that dog is alive. So in this way we can say that dog is a living thing. How can we say that dog is a living thing? So it is showing the breathing. One of the characteristic feature of living thing is breathing. So with this we can say that dog is a living thing. In this way they have some discussions. But only one thing is a living thing. So how many types of living things are there, and how many types of non-living things are there? What are those? Why those we consider as non-living things, and why we consider these as living things? That we are going to see in our today's class. To understand that, now generally all you have studied in your lower classes about the living and non-living things. So you very well know what are the examples comes under the living things. Like plants, animals, human beings, birds, insects. These are the living things. Coming to non-living things. So number of things. Like here only we can take some examples. This marker, board, table, fan, light, chair. Number of examples we can give under non-living things. But how we can categorize these two things like living and non-living things. For example, bench is there. How you can say bench is a non-living thing, and how can you say animals are living things? What are the characteristic features? How we can categorize them into both living and non-living things? Today in our class we are going to see what features will say that organism is a living thing, and that things are living things and non-living things. That we are going to see in our today's class. First, coming to the movement. Generally, all living things will show movement, like plants, animals, humans, birds, insects, etc. So, animals will move from one place to another, human beings will move one place to another, birds will move, like they will fly, insects also they will fly and they will crawl on the ground. But, so these all are the living things, and these all will show the movements. You may get one doubt here. Madam, you wrote plants under the living things, but how plants will show the movement? They cannot move from one place to another, right? So how can you write in under living things, madam? You can say. So means unless it does not show the movement also, it is a living thing. It will move at their place. Ma'am, plants you wrote under living things, but they cannot move from one place to another. So they will move at their place when wind blows. That means they show a wavy movement, that's it. But they cannot move from one place to another until unless a person or an animal can take it, and like we pluck some plants and we will place it in another some places. So in that way, all living organisms will show the movement. Coming to the non-living things, they do not show any movement. Like if you take the chair, like this chair or table, it will be there itself till tomorrow. If until unless any person will lift and change its place, it won't move from here. I place a marker here. By tomorrow also it will be there only. Until unless if anyone will come and move this, they cannot move from one place to another. This is the first characteristic feature of a living things. And next coming to the growth. Coming to the growth. So second one is the growth. All living things will grow. For example, myself, I am now as a teacher. When I was at the age of 4 years or 5 years, I am like you. I went to the school like LKG. So after LKG, UKG, not only you are changing in the classes, but you are changing in your physical growth, right? So in the same way, all living things will grow in. We can see their growth in their body. Like plants, if you sow seeds in the soil, after one week you can see small plant is coming from that seed. Coming to the animals, many animals, like if you take example cat, the younger one of cat is a kitten. Cat will give birth to the small baby, that is kitten. That kitten after growing it will grows into a cat. And coming to the dog, dog is younger one is puppy. Puppy will grow into the dog. In that same way, all the living organisms will grow in their physically they will grow. Birds also, they lay eggs, and from the eggs we can see the small birds are coming. That birds after few days they will be growing and becoming the birds. Insects also, all the living things will grow. So different types of growth they will show. And coming to the non-living things, if you take example of any non-living thing like fan, if fan it can grow by tomorrow or by after 10 days or after 1 month or 1 year, we can see the increase in the size of the fan? No. That means it is a non-living thing, so it does not show any growth in its body. And so only the growth of these all living things will be seen only to some extent. Like human beings, we will grow till 20 to 22 years. And animals also, to certain age they will be growing. But plants, they will be growing their lifelong. If for example, some kind of plants are there, after some days the leaves will be fallen off. So after falling off that leaves, 2 to 3 days later we can see a small leaf is rising from that place. So that means plants will grow till their end. But in our body we are having some parts which will grow continuously throughout our life. For example, hair and nails. Hair and nails will, till we cut the nails and till we cut our hair also, it will be growing continuously. This growth is called continuous growth. That is two parts which will be growing in our body continuously. But non-living things will not show any growth. Now coming to the third one, food and water. All living organisms need food and water for their survival. All living organisms need food and water for survival. For example, coming to the living organism like plants, they need water to grow. Animals also need water. Without water, no living organisms can be survived. Human beings, birds, insects, etc. And food also will be needed. You know, I told in the previous class that plants need food. They will be preparing their own food in the presence of sunlight, carbon dioxide, chlorophyll and water, called process called photosynthesis. So they will be preparing their own food. Animals will go in search of food and they will be hunting in search of food. Human, we will get ingredients from outside and we'll cook our food by ourselves. Birds also will go in search of food. They will be bringing food for their younger ones also, and insects also need food to survive. But coming to the non-living things, does they need food? as it does not show any growth, then how it come need food? And next characteristic feature is breathing. All living organisms need air to survive. Along with the food and water, we need air to survive. Like plants also need air. Animals, human beings, birds, insects, everything, like every living organisms need air to survive. That means we are taking air inside and giving air outside. Like if you take examples of living things like animals, human beings, birds, insects, etc., we are having some holes. Like human beings, we are having the nose and two nostrils through which we will take air inside. Coming to the animals also, they are also having the nose, they are also taking air through their nose. Like birds, they are also having the beaks, under that beaks they are having the nose, like two holes, from that they are taking the air inside. Like insects, they are also having the small pores on their body or under their body. For example, if you take the cockroach, they will have a spiracles. With the help of spiracles, they will be taking the air inside. So in this way, different living organisms will breathe through their different body organs. But coming to the plants, as I told in the previous class, that plants also have nose. You can say, ma'am, where can we see the nose? You cannot see the nose. Plants are having a nose called stomata. They are bean-shaped structure which can be seen on the surface of the leaf lamina. If we observe under the microscope, we can see the bean-shaped structures called stomata. Through this stomata, plants will be taking air inside and giving out air outside. In this way, all the living organisms need air to survive. Without air, we cannot live. That means all the living organisms will perform the respiration process. That means they need oxygen to break down the food inside our body. We need oxygen to break down that food molecules into simple molecules and give energy. In order they will be giving energy. That process we call it as a respiration. All living organisms take oxygen inside and give out carbon dioxide. But only the plants, in the process of photosynthesis, they need carbon dioxide in the preparation of the food, and they will be releasing the oxygen into the atmosphere, which in turn we are using that oxygen as our air, like means taking air inside. So in this way, both photosynthesis and respiration process are performed by the plants. But coming to the non-living things do not need any air. As they are non-living, they don't need to breathe, take air for their survival. As it is a non-living thing, they do not need air. Next, moving on to the removal of waste. Removal of waste. All living organisms take food, yes, to get energy to perform our process, daily activities. We need food, like we need energy to perform some activities. Like animals also, like if you take example of tiger, it needs food to hunt the animals or to fight with other animals. And birds also need food for flying in the sky. And insects also need food. All living organisms need food and water for their survival. As we are taking food, we need to remove the impurities, like remove the waste which is present in our body. If you take example of animals, human beings, we remove the waste in the form of feces and urine. Animals also remove their from the body in the form of urine, and also in the form of dung, that we call it as a feces. And human beings also remove the body waste in the form of feces, urine, sweat, etc. And insects also remove the waste. Birds also remove the waste. Coming to the plants, they cannot take the raw food materials into their body, but how can they remove the waste materials? They will also remove the waste materials like gums. If you observe some plants, we can see some fluids which are secreting, which are coming out of the trunk of the plant. From the trunk of the plant tree, we can see some secretions like gummy, sticky like secretions called gums or resins that will be removed in the form of a waste. In this way, all the living organisms will remove the waste in order to keep our body fit. So, we are removing the sweat in the form of from the skin. Moving on to the next characteristic feature is giving birth. Giving birth. So, living organisms like animals, plants, animals, human beings, birds, insects can be categorized into two types. Like they may be give birth in the form of like they will be laying eggs or direct young ones. Okay, so like if you take example of animals like buffalo, cow, cat, dog, etc. We consider them as a mammals. Okay, we consider them as a mammals. That means they will be giving birth to their young ones, and after giving birth, they will be feeding their babies with their milk. Okay, so that's why we call them as a mammals, and these will give birth to the young ones directly. Like buffalo will give small buffalo, cow, small cow, cat, kitten, dog, puppy. And human beings, we also will be giving birth to the young ones. And coming to the one more category, reptiles. For example, reptiles like snakes, crocodiles, tortoise, etc. They will be laying the eggs. They will be laying the eggs and giving birth to the young ones. And coming to the directly like birds. If you take birds and insects, they will also be laying the eggs. From these eggs only, after hatching these eggs, they will be giving birth to their young ones. And based on the giving mode, giving birth to their young ones, the mode, it is defined as two types like oviparous and viviparous. So, organisms which will give birth to their young ones by laying eggs. Oviparous, like they will be laying eggs and giving birth to the young ones. That mode of reproduction we call it as a oviparous. That mode of giving birth we call it as a oviparous animals. And the animals which are giving directly to the birth to the young ones, directly young ones, we call them as a directly young ones. We call them as a viviparous. In this way, living organisms will giving birth to their young ones. Next, moving on to the next living organism, plants. Plants, how they will give birth to the young ones. The only mode of giving to the young one is like they will be giving the seeds. Most of the plants will be growing with the help of seeds. If we saw, for example, if you take mango tree, the mango seed we take, and if we sow in the soil, after 2 to 3 years we can see the mango tree. And if in case of coconut, in case of orange, whatever the trees may be, all these things, all these fruits or vegetables we are getting with the help of seeds. With the help of seeds only we are getting the new plants. Not only with the seeds, with their some plants will give their babies, like they will be giving new, they're growing into new plants with their vegetative parts. That process we call it as a vegetative propagation. Like some plants will be growing with the help of stems, roots, leaves, seeds, etc. So, if you take an example of rose plant, if you cut one of the stem or branch of a rose plant, and if you directly put in the soil, if you water it daily, you can see after some days new branches will be arising from that stem or branch. And some will be roots. Some plants will be growing with the help of vegetative part roots, some will be leaves. Like example, leaves will be bryophyllum. Bryophyllum is a plant which will grow from the new plants will be growing from the leaves. In this way, different types of parts of a plants also will be helping giving birth to their young ones. So, if these seeds, so if I want a mango tree in my garden, I will take one some, after eating mangoes, I do not throw that seed. I will be taking and putting in the soil, and I will be getting the mangoes. But all the mango trees which are growing in the same way, is the same process? No, sometimes if you observe, monkeys will be very much fond of these mangoes. They will be taking the so monkeys will be very much fond of these mangoes, and they will be not they'll be eating those mangoes and throwing that seed somewhere else. So in that way, that mangoes trees will be growing. And if you see roadside, many number of trees are there. How they will be growing? Anyone came and plant those trees? No. With the help of nature, like with the help of insects, birds, they will be growing in that way. So this is about the seeds, plants getting new plants from the seeds and their vegetative parts. Moving on to the next topic, and like living organisms will show response to the stimulus. They will be showing some responses towards light, towards heat, towards touch. So what are those responses we will be seeing? Next characteristic feature is response to stimuli. That means some plants or animals, they will be showing some reactions to the light, to the touch and to the heat. So in that way, what are those organisms, how they will be responding? If you take some like plants, if you take sunflower plant, how they will be growing? They will be facing towards the sun. If sun will rise at east and the sun will set at west. So when sun is towards east, the face of the sunflowers will be towards east. How the sun is moving in the same direction, these flowers will be also moving. In this way, for this we can say as an example of showing response to light. And coming to another example, like plant mimosa. Mimosa is a kind of plant, or in natural way, in normal way, we call it as a touch me not plant. We call it as a touch me not plant. Its a botanical name is the mimosa plant. A number of species will be there in this also. It's a genus name. And that plant will be like this. The leaves will be in this way. And once if we give a slightest touch to this plant, their leaves will be closing. Only for the lightest touch of our hand, it will be closing. So that means it's showing response to the touch. That means these plants will show response to the touch. So in this way, like living organisms like plants, they will be showing response to the light and touch. And some plants, like some flowers, Raat ki Rani, night jasmine, is one kind of plant which will be blooming, like opening their flowers at the night time itself. In that way, like hibiscus, they will be opening only, the flowers will be opening only in the morning time. In this way, some variations we can see number of plants showing to different types of stimuli, showing different types of responses. For example, if we come into the another category like other living organisms like earthworm. Yes, earthworms, all know earthworms, and they will be present in the soil. They are very good friends to the farmers. As they are living in the under the soil, they will be like the dark places, like dark regions they will be liking. That means that's why they will select the underground place, and they will help in soil erosion. They will be helping in the soil erosion. That means they will mixing up the soil. That is the main function of the earthworms. That is why we call it as a farmer's friends. Earthworms are called farmer's friends. Because of the soil erosion only, we can get the soil can be mixed and the plants will be growing very good. So how this earthworm will be showing a response to the light? This earthworms will be showing response to the light. For example, if you take one glass jar, and this mouth is okay, half of this glass jar is covered with the dark color, some black color paper is covered, and put some soil inside and also put one earthworm inside. Okay, now take a torchlight. So these earthworms which are, they will be generally presenting in this dark region. Once if this earthworm is coming towards the uncovered region, that if you put a torchlight towards this, immediately they will going back. That means that is the response towards the light. In this way, earthworms will be showing response towards the light. Then we also, for example, if we see bright sun in the morning hours or in the afternoons, can we see directly sun? No, just after looking to the sun, we will be blinking our eyes. So in this way, we are also showing some responses. You are going on the way, somewhere you are going on your way. Suddenly, one thorn was there. You just step on it, you will put your foot back. That means it will you are responding to that thing. And if you have one hot vessel there, you don't know whether it is a hot or cold. Immediately you will touch it. After touching it, immediately you will pull your hands back. That means why you are responding, your skin is responding to that thing that is hot. It's saying to your brain that it is hot, don't touch, it will get harm to your body. In this way, all the living organisms will be responding to the different kinds of stimuli, and these all things are not shown by the non-living things. This is all about the living and the non-living things.